So you know what, guys? Let's get started here. Am I in theater mode? Let's go in theater mode here.
Yeah, my favorite brand is, of course, Origin.
That's a very difficult question. I have to think about this.
CDS, which is Clark Defense Systems.
Let me think. What else is a good manufacturer?
Would be Argo.
Drake.
Oh, good question, by the way. What is your favorite brand? As far as I have a couple of favorite brands, not necessarily. It's funny because they also have the in-game lore. I would say, oh, I love Crusader. Yeah, but Crusaders are so. I actually don't like them. I like their ships, but I don't like their in-game, you know, the lore policy. So it's not gonna be Crusader. It's probably gonna be a weapons brand. I like Gemini a lot. Yeah, Gemini, especially the F-55, you know, delivering as much firepower within the shortest amount of time. I like that. So I'll go for Gemini. But what's your favorite brand, guys? I'd like to know too.
What's good other than Drake, though?
What's good other than Drake? Well, there are other great. I mean, Aegis is kind of okay.
No, surprise, surprise. My favorite manufacturer is an FPS manufacturer.
No.
Right now, the narrative team is managing about 250 brands.
What? Did you hear that, guys? 250 brands. That is some crazy work that was done by the lore team here, actually. That is absolutely crazy. The face, the face you posed on. Oh, you mean here? Oh, all right. Hey, Kodiak, how are you, Kodiak? I love the idea of Drake ships, but the current version is a bit let down. Yeah, it's true. Well, we'll see what the Corsair eventually will turn out to be, right? I have hopes, high hopes for the Corsair.
That cover a wide variety of areas, from consumer goods to government agencies to service providers. The reason there are so many brands in Star Citizen and Squadron 42 is that it helps the developers and the players distinguish between the form and function of an item. Basically, it helps provide color and context for a location, and it helps inform the overall history of the entire Star Citizen universe.
Yeah, there's that, and it's also a great way to feel more familiar with the places. You know, you recognize some familiar logos. You know that, oh, this is, for example, that one shop where I'm going to find this kind of item, for example. So it's very useful also to make players make their way in an easier fashion within the verse. I would guess, right? Chromite says that he likes Drake, and Kodak says though. Whoever makes the railgun and the laser rifles, there's a lot of them. You have, for example, Kastock Arms, Klaus and Werner. I think it's Klaus and Werner, K and W, Kodiak. I could be wrong though.
Let's take Origin, for example. If you see that ship coming at you, it's going to probably have these sleek and elegant lines that's very visually distinct. If you're flying one, you know it's going to be high performance and probably cost you a lot. In development, let's take, for example, Argo, which up until recently only had one small little ship in its entire line.
You know, Argo kind of makes me think of, both Argo and Greycat are very similar. It made me think of brands like Caterpillar, for example, very industrial. You know, nothing on the side. Buck Rogers, 07 Buck Rogers.
But they wanted to expand upon it.
When it came to Argo, we did work on another ship. It was massive.
Huh? What do you mean, an Argo capital ship? That's interesting. A massive Argo ship? What?
I mean, it came before the SRV and it came before the mole. And even though it was never fully realized,
What? What is this? 2018 abandoned ship concept no longer in development. What is this? This looks awesome. Why is this not in the game? Look at that. It even has its own landing pad in the back. Wow. Oh, this really looks big. Why was this abandoned?
there was a lot of technology and shape came from that ship.
What is this for? Are these laser guns? Like, is this... What is this? I would buy that, says Kodak. I would totally buy that too. It's like the Argo flying saucer, you know, where you actually have a landing pad at the back. How awesome is that?
And so it was super useful. That basically has informed a lot of the SRV in the mold. So everything is slightly exaggerated. Everything feels like it's got thicker skin. We've introduced some big chunky VTOLs. It's not like it's not paper thin metal. We keep it orange, so it's still got that sort of industrial vibe. And so you have a cowling of general sort of cleanse.
Wow. Okay. So they kept some of the elements for the later Argo ships that were designed late after that. What is that ship? Bring it back, right? That's a flying disc of my new. Yeah, right. Definitely looks like a flying saucer or flying disc. Absolutely, and I like the idea, right? That would be great to see coming through the atmosphere. I wonder if it would rotate, you know.
Cleanliness, and then underneath it's just hardcore high density mechanical tech. So there are all these sort of things that start to come in that are influenced by the name.
All right, so we know
in
a
development,
little bit more about Argo.
brands can do more than help an artist determine the visual style of a ship. They can also help designers figure out the balance of items like FPS weapons.
Ah, good. Let's talk about FPS weapon. This is becoming, you know, I love flying ships, but it's complicated to really master flight in Star Citizen. So I've noticed that, and this was not intentional. I've always wanted to be a fighter pilot, but I've noticed that I've become more specialized in actual FPS combat. And as much as I love flying, I know it's a space game. I know, and I totally dig that. But the FPS combat in Star Citizen is really growing on me too. So I'm quite interested here if they want to talk about FPS weapons here.
So one of the things that we're looking at doing this quarter is putting all of our FPS.
I love his name, Johnny Jace Vicious. Is this really his name? That's super awesome.
Manufacturers into what we call a bounce triangle.
Oh,
a bounce triangle.
What is a bounce triangle? We're talking about really game design here. Like that.
It's used in a lot of different industries actually, and it's more commonly seen in stuff like product design, where you're looking at, you've only got a finite amount of time and money, so you're trying to decide if you want to make it quickly, if you want to make it good, or if you want to make it on the cheap. And you're essentially trying to pick this point on the triangle, and whichever direction you go in, it comes at the cost of two other things. So when we're talking about manufacturers for consistency, we want to make sure that they have their own identity, and that's where the same bounce triangle comes in. So the 3 points that we chose for our weapons that made the most sense to us were power, which generally translates into the amount of damage it puts out per shot. Speed, which just translates mostly to rate of fire and how fast it can get bullets down range, and range as well. So essentially how steady the weapon is in the hand, if it loses much energy over time as it travels, and essentially just if something is skewed towards range, then obviously it can fire more effectively at longer ranges.
Okay, got a bad feeling, guys. I got a bad feeling about what I'm hearing here for my beloved F-55 from Gemini. You know that this is my favorite game. You've seen many videos on the channel with me using the F-55. And if I'm listening to them, then I have a strong feeling that the F-55 is gonna get a rework eventually, because they said that a gun either must have power or speed or a high firing range or range. Power, speed, range. The problem is that the F-55 has got all three. It's super powerful. It's got a long range. I can kill easily people from afar with the F-55. You've seen that in Star Marine. And it's got a super fast rate of fire at the same time. So it's all three. It's fast, powerful, and it's got a long range. Man, the problem with the F-55 is it's super hard. It's super hard to use. So maybe they should have spoken about a square instead of a triangle. But if we follow that triangle, that F-55 is gonna be reworked. That is bad news. Bad news. And they need to put this room in on Area 18. We need a gun range somewhere. Absolutely, Kodiak Gaming. This is something that we've been talking about for a long time. I don't know if you remember that video that I made when we were trying to have a shootout with DG360, and Eventually, we ended up on Macrotech trying to put soda cans on a log, and, and the soda cans eventually disappeared, right? So we need to have proper shooting range, absolutely. At least we've got penguins now. We've got Macrotech penguins, so we can use Macrotech penguins instead of soda cans. I don't know, I've never tried shooting at them. Maybe I should try doing that in the PDU. But definitely, especially, you know, if you want to buy guns, we're going to try if those guns are our cup of tea, if we're effective with those guns. I'll just have some random training, you know. It would definitely be a valuable asset in the verse to have those firing range. I agree with you, Koyak.
So the way this ties into the bigger picture is really, especially with it giving us more consistency across the brand, you need something that's going to tie everything together, narrative, art, and essentially design, and the way these things work. And we need them to be identifiable for everyone, kind of upon first look. So if I, for example, found a Castak shotgun, I know it's going to be about power. And
yeah, look at that. Those Castak arms definitely look very bulky, and they definitely look like they're going to do a lot of damage. That is true. I hope they talk about Gemini a little bit.
You can see it on the floor. It looks like a Castak weapon. It is a Castak weapon. It's going to be about power, and all of that ties together. But as we've identified on a weapon-to-weapon basis, there are some manufacturer outliers.
Yeah, he's right. It's true. It's something that you can really notice around the verse, that all weapons, not just ships, also weapons really have their own special visual identity, which is great because it creates a certain standard of consistency in the verse that really makes Star Citizen stand out compared to a lot of other games. I like that too.
Like, say, for the Gemini S71.
Yeah. Hey, Gemini, there we go.
It's a marksman.
Yes. Oh, there's the S71. We saw the G97 shotgun a little bit earlier. There's the S71. A wonderful, nice assault rifle. I don't use it so much because I prefer to have. It doesn't fire so fast. You're gonna see how it fires.
Rifle, and that will never fire faster than the assault rifles that we've got. So we're quite okay with having the odd outlier per manufacturer, kind of like a car manufacturer would, where they might try something a little bit different.
Yeah, it's like one of those old guns that if you remember, you know, the Counter-Strike. You know, if you those of you who play Counter-Strike had a lot of guns like those in CS. Kind of reminds me of those guns. But yeah, Gemini looks so sleek. I like that they have those coolers. I think they look like coolers. You know, those blue patterns that you find all over the gun, including here on the attachment, on the visor as well. Very nice.
And it either works out or it doesn't. But at their core, they're still making weapons that are skewed in one direction.
Brands also extend past items, though. They can be groups of people. They could be something like, let's say, Ninetales Outlaw Pack.
Whoa! What are we looking at here? Are we looking at future Ninetale characters that we are? By the way, this guy. This is. Does anybody know Günther? Let me show you. So Günther. Let me. Let me show you. This guy looks like Günther. Let me show you a picture here. There you go. That's him. That's him. This is Günther. You're right? It's exactly that guy. Amazing. Hey, Vulcan Racing. How are you doing? Everything is alright. Thank you so much for it, man. So we're gonna have Günther at Grimex as a Ninetale. Pretty cool. So I really hope that we're gonna see that, you know, because we've already had the Greentail improvements. Are we going to have Ninetales actual characters when we're gonna have the scramble races? How amazing would that be? Because we definitely need to have, you know, those criminals that look kind of shady or kind of look like, you know, degenerates a little bit.
If you see a Ninetale symbol on a ship or on a piece of armor...
Look at this guy. The Ninetale businessman. I love this. I love this. This guy definitely looks like he had a little bit too much slam.
Or even spray painted on the wall in a location, that may tell you to either avoid that area or head on in, depending upon whether you're...
I love those character designs. Bring them to Grimex. Seriously, what are we waiting for? Where are we waiting for? These guys absolutely look awesome. Yeah, definitely this guy looks like a racer. See, he's got even the helmet and everything. He's totally going to right here. Sheps likes the Gunther reference. James says Gunther is awesome. I want to use him as a model for my personal crisis makeover. All right. I'd like to see them as guards or bookies and such around groups. Absolutely, Kodiak. That would be fantastic around Remix. Definitely. This guy here, what is that? Is that the Enforcer? A VIP, maybe the VIP Lounge Enforcer? And they have all that big 9 around. It kind of looks like very 1980s and steampunky at the same time. Great designs. Bring them in. CIG.
Friends with that group or your enemies with it. And we're going into this level of detail because it really will enrich in the game, make it feel more alive and lived in. It'll help provide context and color. It'll deepen the history to help explain how we have gone from here to there. So by doing this, we hope to make the world more familiar and relatable to players, and just in general more immersive. Because really, what's more immersive than seeing brands everywhere you look?
Yeah, he's right. Definitely plays a role in the immersion here in the verse. I'm totally digging what I'm seeing here. All right, good.